Well, Dr. Bill, I tell you, those guys on my new fast-growing, exciting group, the Truth Whispers, I got these two right-wing flamers that just won't give up, Mr. Keith Lewis and Roger Williams. And now what about that big tax solution that Keith Lewis posted on the Truth Whispers? You were going to say something about that?
Yeah, it's crap. It's crap. The problem with the tax system in America is very simple. For the last 50 years, the burdens, the tax on the individual burdens have been shifted to the individual, who now pays somewhere just a little ticky below 50% of all taxes. Mm-hmm. Once upon a time, corporations paid 40%. Now they pay 8%. The rich also used to pay 91%. Now they pay 35%. If they pay 35%, but they don't.
Like General Electric.
The simple solution to tax system is let it be what it was made to be in 1913. A progressive system. The more you make, the more you pay. Simple.
Yeah, well, you explained to me, if a corporation or an elitist made, let's say, $1 billion last year in 2011, 10% of the $1 billion will still leave him with
900 million.
$900 million. But if a poor working stiff, a poor minimum wage working stiff that works for a fast food chain only brought home $10,000, 10% of $10,000 for the whole year, he's got a lousy $9,000, right?
Yeah.
So it's relative. It's like,
that's the 10% tax, flat tax.
Yeah, that's if you have a flat
solution.
Tax. So it's another way for the rich to pay
less.
Next to nothing or a hell of a lot less.
Spain is doing this crap right now. Spain has got problems. 25% unemployment, the same bullshit. So their way of fixing it is not to raise revenue on the rich, but to institute a value-added tax, a VAT tax, which affects whom?
The elitists, the rich, right?
No! The middle class and the poor, the people who buy things.
Oh, who affects it negatively?
Value-added tax.
All right, I'm sorry.
Tax.
I thought you meant who does it affect positively? Who does it affect negatively is the little guy.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
That's what they're thinking in all those countries, including the United States, for the last 50 years. And that's why revenues are not there. Because the rich have not been paying their fair share.
So, even with social services and programs, we don't have necessarily a spending problem, like they're always blaming the tax and spend liberals. Even Reagan used to do that. We have a revenue problem.
It's all propaganda.
It's all propaganda, conservative propaganda and lies, and these lemmings out there that either do not have a pot to piss in, or they're not in a high income tax bracket, which is a joke, because if you're in a high bracket, you pay less. But these are probably middle class, maybe lower middle class people that come on my group, the Truth Whispers, and they go on and on and on, promoting the Republican conservative lies, T-Publican lies, and they're all lies.
Talking points.
Talking points, lies about Obama, the things he never did, lies about the progressive liberals. It goes on, and no matter what proof we present on the Facebook group, the Truth Whispers, no matter how many times we present this truth, these proven facts, they come back with sometimes stupid, silly things, often borderline name calling or insults, or they don't come back with any facts. That's the thing. But anyway, and intelligent adults usually base what comes out of their mouth with proven facts, not sounding like a total asshole, a horse's ass. Oh, I'm sorry. Gee, I didn't know we were on the air. Welcome to Progressive Discussions. I am your host for Progressive Discussions this week, James P. Madonna, and I am coming to you live from the Newsletter Censored Research Center in northeastern New Jersey. And we had torrential heavy-duty rain with a tornado watch or warning before.
It was a warning, yeah.
It was a warning, and we're supposed to get more maybe later on until tonight, but right now it's stopped. It's very calm, and the worst seems to be over. Anyway, let me formally pipe my co-host and mentor aboard the Progressive pirate ship. Arr, ahoy, matey.
Ahoy.
I welcome my co-host and mentor, formally piping him aboard, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. How are you, sir?
Another week to walk the plank.
To walk. Oh, I have a whole bunch of people that I would love to make walk the plank. Now, speaking of people, remember that stupid song, "People Who Need People Are the Luckiest People in the World"? Well, not the people.
Barbra Streisand.
Not the people I'm referring to. All right. We will delve and dabble in the occult.
Oh, God.
I have an authentic, professional-grade pendulum from the amazing Kreskin that the Wizard Azibuko, who is now officially retired, gave me. He had extra.
Is he getting a pension?
A pension?
Yeah, he's retired.
Oh, he's got more
He's on
money.
Social Security?
Oh no, he with his mysticism and all the consultations he does, he's got plenty of dough.
Oh, okay.
I think he's at his summer retreat in Salem, Massachusetts, but he does travel a lot. Anyway, let me warm it up. Now, I want you to watch my arm and make sure that I'm not moving this thing. Pendulum, are you ready to answer questions today?
Where's the yes or no?
If no means it's going, when it revolves counterclockwise, it means no, and it's saying no. When it revolves clockwise, it means yes. What the hell you mean no? You're on Progressive Discussions, man. What the fuck? Do I have to knock your ass out, Pendulum? What do you mean no, you're not ready to answer questions?
Oh, he's tired, man.
Nah, you tired? I just woke him up. Alright, hold on. Pendulum. Are the all those food and drink and beer groups and health groups that I used to belong to, are these pretty much people with no backbone and who are corporate company network and a food channel groupies and total ass kissers? You know, like followers but not leaders? Are they like total ass kissers? And food channel celebrity groupies?
Saying no.
No, it's saying yes.
You just said that was the direction the other day when it was before when it was no.
Because it didn't want to be bothered.
Yeah, now it's no again.
Because
right?
I convinced it that it's on Progressive Discussions. So now it's spinning clockwise, which happens to be my clockwise, in case any stupid people out there are saying, it's moving counter. It's my clockwise, remember. All right. Pendulum. Do you think some of these individuals that are food and drink groupies and that like to constantly kiss Food Channel and Travel Channel celebrity ass, and also are possibly pussy whipped, and also are just basically company ass kissers, and are afraid to tell the truth. Are they afraid to tell the truth, and are they living a lie? Now you notice, hopefully it's in the camera, but you notice that I am not moving this, and it is going clockwise, which means yes. Okay, Pendulum. Are these people from these other so-called groups that are supposed to be truthful and honest, do you think they are perhaps, at least the group administrators, do you think they are perhaps jealous of the organization I belong to, my groups, jealous of me and the people in my organization for having a backbone of titanium and will get in your face with the real hard-hitting truth? Are they jealous of us? Yes. A big yes. Going clockwise, see? Oh yeah, look at it. Look at it. It's
Oh
really,
my God, come on.
it's really warming up. Okay.
The demons are active.
Pendulum. Are the right-wing fundamentalist, zealot, conservative Republicans in the Republican Party, are they the modern-day tools of Satan in the end times?
A demon doesn't want an answer.
No, it's not a demon. Quiet. Keep quiet. It's deciding. It's
a
thinking.
demon.
It's thinking. It's thinking. There it goes. Yes, they are the tools of Satan.
There's a lot of things that are the tools of Satan,
All right.
including the churches.
Oh yeah. Does Mitt Romney pretend to be stupid like G.W. Bush, or does he do it on purpose? Is he like crazy like a fox? Does he do it on purpose?
No, it's because he's out of touch.
Oh no, he doesn't do it on purpose. He really is an idiot and a total bore. Oh wow, I kind of figured that.
Like he said, he drives a couple of, a pickup truck and some other kind of car, and his wife drives a couple of Cadillacs. You don't say stuff like that to middle-class groups or the poor.
Was G.W. Bush playing stupid as an act?
No, he was stupid. G.W. Bush was one of their boys.
All right, hold
The
on.
demon's boys. Okay?
Oh, wait a minute. G.W. Bush was putting on a facade.
Angel of light.
He was probably a real wicked bastard in real
He
life.
appeared as an angel of light.
Yeah, he appeared as a fake war hero to those idiots that voted for him.
Yes.
All right.
But when the veterans came back, he didn't take care of that.
No, they ended up living in tents in Florida in the woods.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, he Bush was a phony. He did put on an act.
Yeah.
Okay. The last question. Well, actually, not the last, but almost the last. All those people, all those lemmings in America, those middle-class individuals, and I will use that term loosely, do they vote Republican because they are stupid? They are just naturally dumb? No.
They vote Republican.
Well,
because that's
Don,
their only choice.
let the mysticism say it. Do they vote Republican because they are
Mysticism.
deceived? Yes.
No.
Say
That's a no, ain't it?
no. It's going clockwise, my friend. Clockwise. It's
It looks the whirlpool wise to me.
You mean the Whirlpool, the appliance company that makes the washing
No,
machines?
the whirlpool effect.
It's going to the right. It's going clockwise,
Well,
clockwise.
they're conservatives. Of course they're going to the right.
It's going clockwise. These people
Ugh.
are deceived, so it's not that they're just stupid, dumb, red state, redneck hicks. They're actually deceived. Deceived by what? Ooh. Chris Christie. He closed food pantries in New Jersey. Did he steal all this food and have it redirected to his home in Morris County? Did Chris Christie confiscate food meant for the homeless?
Well, he's not living in Morris County now.
Oh no?
No, he's living in Drumthwacket.
What the fuck kind of town is that?
Trenton.
Drumthwacket?
Drumthwacket, the governor's mansion.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
They
Drumthwacket.
should call it Oompa Loompa or Emerald City. Yes, he is I'm sure Chris Christie would like to confiscate everybody's food in the whole world and let children starve.
He's a food bandit.
He would probably barbecue and roast children and poor people and homeless. I said that last time. He would feed the homeless.
Cannibalism, baby.
Yeah, because Chris Christie didn't mention Romney till the very end of his speech.
Well, I was born in the jungle.
But do you remember? Did you see that post of capitalism with all the fat people dressed like the Monopoly man, with the bags of money, and they were shaking down poor souls.
That's what they do.
They all look like Chris Christie. Okay, now the
Fat cats, baby.
the group administrator of a group called Regional Food Groupie and Drink. Hold on. The pendulum got a little discombobulated here. I wonder why.
You don't want to answer any more questions.
The group administrator of Regional Food Ass-Kissing Groupie and Drink. He originally started the group stating that the First Amendment will apply and nobody will be censored. Of course, that was not true because him and his friend of Honest Craft Beer Reviews, which I still happen to think very highly of, it's the finest beer group in the world as far as I'm concerned, they removed all my comments and my videos. Okay, so there was a lie. They do, Regional Food and Drink is a dictatorship, and they do not support freedom of speech. But he was always getting under my skin, always like poking, innuendos and throwing digs at me. No matter what I said, he always disagreed with everything. And he's a lover of junk food. He likes Cheese Whiz and Velveeta and all the processed foods. He's not he's not a health conscious person. He's not interested in holistic health and nutrition. That's why he refused to be a member of my group, Holistic Health Talk. So that means he must pretty much look crappy and look like he's full of toxins. He probably needs to detoxify. That's why he's so damn bitter and grouchy. Is this guy, he reminds me of a pro wrestler I know. Is this administrator, does he tend to be jealous very easily and very competitive with other men engaging in power struggles from insecurity? He is an insecure person. Yeah, a lot of these people that try to get under everybody's skin and make trouble all the time, they're hiding something. Pendulum, the fact that this person refuses to post photos of himself and remaining, you know, low profile and a mystery, is this person in fact hiding something? Pendulum? And I'll make sure my hand is not moving it, which it never does. Is he hiding something? Alright, this will be the last question. Then we'll go right to the articles.
Oh, that's back and forth. That's not a circle.
Back and forth means it's not sure, but let's see if it's undecided. It is not revolving. It is going back and forth, which means
now it's clock. We're going like a clock.
It's
Tick tock, tick tock.
it's undecided in terms of whether or not this individual is necessarily hiding something. But whoa, wait a minute.
Maybe he's ugly.
No, it's revolving.
Well, now it is.
Now it's going clockwise. Yeah, he's hiding something.
Maybe he's like Mr. Frosty out here is coming right now. Maybe he just likes Mr. Frosties too much.
Ah, yeah, the ice cream truck is coming by. You hear it?
Yeah, I hear him right now. He's ringing his
There
bell.
you go.
And playing his song.
All right, last question, and I promise it's the last. Those two right-wing boobs, those bubble-headed boobies, those flamers, Mr. Keith Lewis and Roger Williams. He's got a cartoon picture that looks a little like the Yosemite Sam, I think. Are they purposely trying to get out? Like, let me ask you a question. Are they stupid country bumpkin like red state voters? Are they stupid? I mean, literally stupid people. Yes. Well, they sound stupid. All right, it's going clockwise. All right, they are stupid.
A lot of people on Facebook are stupid.
Well, they're not. They never come out.
Jeez.
They never come back with anything intelligent or any proven facts. It's always dumb, like insults and like
Ad hominem attacks
your mama
is a
your mama this.
Republican tactic.
You mean they're trying to change the subject, right?
They're not going to engage in the subjects.
Because
they are changing the
you see, that's what these guys do. These right-wingers, they change the subject. They don't answer the question with proven facts.
This is a tactic, a well-respected tactic, which obviously works very well because it aggravates people like you.
Oh, well, yeah, I want to strangle them. Well, what do you mean, respected? Respected by who?
Who? Their group.
Their group respects them?
The Republicans respect those tactics because they work very well.
Apparently, I mean, birds of a stupid, idiotic, retarded birds of a feather flock together, I guess. Hey, here's their patron saint. The idiots that vote Republican. There you go, Ronald Reagan's Reaganomics, trickle-down economics. You see him pissing on America, which is what the trickle-down really means, because it never worked. Trickle-down is a fake, phony, fraud lie, okay? And they love this guy. This is the guy who shifted the tax burden from the rich to the middle class, and I guess the poor get hit with what, consumption taxes?
They get hit with all kinds of taxes.
Yeah, so this
How
is...
do you think a sales tax is?
All
What
right.
about a beer tax? What about a soda tax? What about a, tax?
Yeah.
And the reason is simple, is that the middle class and the poor are overtaxed, is because of why? Let's get it straight.
Wait, why is the little guy being overtaxed? Was that your question? Because our leaders are in bed with corporations and they get paid off to vote that way.
Well, let's put it simply. Because the fat cats aren't paying their fair share.
For 32 years?
More than that.
When did Reagan shift the burden?
He didn't shift it by himself. It's been going on for 50 years.
The ice cream truck. Oh, okay.
Slowly and incrementally.
So they tried to...
And then Reagan comes in, and he shifts it pretty damn big.
So the last real nice guy Republican was probably Dwight D. Eisenhower.
That's correct.
After that, forget it.
That's correct.
So they slowly tried to do what FDR, Harry Truman...
Undo.
They slowly undid FDR, Truman, and Eisenhower's...
Correct. And
America.
in 1999 and the 90s, they undid it all with Glass-Steagall.
Oh yeah, Bill Clinton didn't...
Okay.
Bill Clinton did mention his welfare reform that he signed.
That was 1996.
Yeah.
That was him and Mr. Newt Gingrich who got their noses together and came up with that.
Yeah, so much for bipartisanship.
Okay.
Newt Gingrich poisoning the Clinton administration by signing that unfair, ridiculous welfare reform.
Well, because, people on welfare are lazy.
Somebody that is
People on unemployment insurance are lazy.
Somebody that got approved for welfare was telling one of my interviewers that, they're only getting, I couldn't believe it, $140 a month.
Believe it.
What are you supposed to do with $140 a month?
Most people who are on food stamps run out in the middle of the month.
Of course, but I mean, utility bills, rent. What do you do with $140 a month?
Speaking of utility bills and things of that nature, here in New Jersey, northern New Jersey, we have a cable company called Cablevision. And before I begin my little tirade, does anybody remember when television was free?
Well, I remember when television was free, there's no such thing as bottled drinking water that you had to pay for.
Anyway.
And other things of that that were free.
Cablevision now requires you to have a box.
Oh, that's old hat now. A digital box.
A digital box.
Because everything is digital, and slowly everything's becoming fiber optics.
Now.
Which I'm very happy about.
Well, I'm not very happy
I love
about the fact that television ain't free anymore.
Well, I'm not happy about it. Well, their price...
Who gave Cablevision, Time Warner, Xfinity, whatever, who gave them the right to monopolize the free airways?
Yeah, you're right.
I believe
about
it
that.
was Bill Clinton.
And not only that, what about radio? As far as satellite radio goes, you have to pay a monthly fee for that too.
Yeah. And
gotta
all
pay
you
a
needed
fee.
to do in the old days was take this little crystal radio and wind the antenna around a cold water pipe, and you move the station thingy, and you got free radio.
Oh, I never heard of that. Was that a little science project from Edmund
They
Science?
were little toys.
I didn't know that
was
existed.
sold.
And you wrap it around something metallic, and you can.
And it brings it the station.
How was the volume?
Wow, you had an earpiece.
No kidding, no kidding.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and they're price gouging the consumer,
Because
the cable companies.
it's all about somebody's friend got the concession for the cable or ISP or whatever the hell it is, and now they're squeezing money out of you. Privatization!
Which doesn't work in the long run, or in the short run. Privatization.
It doesn't work at all. It shouldn't be there at all. You are favoring people over other people.
Well, you're
These things, the internet should be free.
Yeah.
Should be free.
Well, conservatives want to privatize absolutely everything.
That's correct.
And I think a society where everyone has to pay out of pocket for absolutely everything. I think that sucks. I think that really sucks.
Well, it sucks, but who gave them that right? And then who sold them the right, or whatever it required for them to do?
But
it?
nobody asked we the people to vote on yes or yay or nay, yes or no when we go to vote in the booth.
Who gave them the right to divide up our airways and allow the big businesses to control them?
Sell it off.
I didn't.
My grandfather used to make a joke when I was first starting high school. He used to say, or maybe it was grammar school. He used to say, watch and see what happens in the future. They're going to start trying to make people pay for what's in the air.
I said that many, many moons ago. I said, watch, pretty soon with the pollution and everything, we're going to be... Well, they do it in Japan, don't they? You can go to these places where you can breathe in pure air.
Yeah, pure H2O.
Didn't Michael Jackson go into the thingamabob?
It's very energizing, I hear.
That,
pure. Is that what you get in hospitals when they put the little air
well, that's oxygen.
tube in your nose?
But I'm talking
Oxygen.
about that thing. What's that?
H2O.
What's that thing
Oh,
called?
no, that's water. Oxygen, pure oxygen without carbon dioxide, right?
What's that thing called?
Oxygen chamber?
Something like
Hyperbaric?
that. Hyperbaric.
Hyperbaric oxygen
he used
chamber?
to go into the hyperbaric chamber there.
You know, that's
breathe in good air.
That's a treatment for people who have lost brain cells. Maybe those two guys from the Truth Whisperers can go in a hyperbaric oxygen
What
chamber.
did we say last week? A study has been done which shows that conservatives do not have the amount of gray matter that liberals do.
Well, that's obvious.
Well, it's not been obvious because they claim that they are smarter and they have the moral high ground because they are Christian.
So anybody who
Democrats
anybody who
are
has
demons.
anybody who has the microphone could state any lie they want.
They've been doing it. Mr. Pat Robertson's been doing it for how many years?
Here's the mic. We are close to God, and you're not. Our policies work. Yours doesn't. We are this, and I mean, it goes on and on. You can lie all you want if you got the microphone in front of you. And the U.S. media, of course, sticks the microphone in front of the right-wingers all the time. And nobody really knows the independent candidates yet, I notice. Nobody knows them.
Yeah. Well, Jill Stein was at the Democratic convention, and WBAI people spoke to her, but
nobody else spoke to her.
No.
And Rocky Anderson, did he do
well,
anything?
she certainly didn't appear at the Republican one.
Did the Rocky Anderson
No,
appear?
he wasn't there.
All right, let's go right to the articles. We definitely need to attack these articles.
Yeah, look at the stack here.
Well, I was trying to, summarize what you were saying, but anyway, let's get right on.
Right on.
Like
keeping
this,
on,
like
man.
the old disco song.
Americans are throwing out nearly every other bite of food,
Get down on it if you really want it. Remember that song?
wasting up to 40% of the country's supply each year. A mass of uneaten provisions worth about $165 billion, according to a new report from the Natural Resources Defense Council. An average family of four squanders $2,275 in food each year.
Yeah, well, Chris Christie doesn't squander it. It goes right in his belly.
Or 20 pounds per person per month, according to the nonprofit and nonpartisan environmental advocacy group.
Excuse me.
Food waste is the largest single portion of solid waste cramming America's landfills. Since the 1970s, the amount of uneaten fare that is dumped has jumped 50%.
Well, Americans are junk food junkies. They're gluttonous. They're pigs.
The average American trashes 10 times as much food as a consumer in Southeast Asia. such profligacy is especially unwarranted in a time of record drought, high food prices expected to go higher, and families unable to afford food. But American consumers are used to seeing pyramids of fresh produce in their local markets and grocery stores, which results in $15 billion annually in unsold fruits and vegetables. The council says wasted food eats up a quarter of all fresh water consumed in the U.S., along with 4% of the oil, while producing 23% of the methane emissions. In its report, it urges the government to set a target for food waste reduction. Companies should look for alternatives in their supply chain, such as making so-called baby carrots out of carrots too bent to be sold whole at the retail level.
Oh, so they actually carve out baby carrots.
Yeah.
It's not that they're really baby carrots.
No, no such thing. The study also asks Americans to learn when food goes bad and to become less averse to buying scarred or otherwise imperfect produce. Okay?
Interesting. Very important article.
The son of sex researcher William H. Masters, Dr. William H. Masters, by the way, has been charged with exposing himself to a sheriff's deputy and another woman who were posing as recreational kayakers as part of a sting operation on a Michigan river. Huron County Sheriff Kelly Hansen says a completely nude William H. Masters III yelled for the women's attention Saturday and then made obscene gestures.
Was he doing a specific research?
He didn't do the research. He was the son of Dr. William H. Masters. Masters and Johnson.
Oh, that Masters.
Sex research. Back in the what, 60s?
Was Mr. Masters Jr. Masters baiting?
That's correct. That's correct. He was masturbating, but the point is, we would assume.
What a jerk off that guy
We
is.
would assume that this son came from a family of sex progressive parents.
Oh, don't use the word progressive here. I don't want people
Now
to
usually,
get the wrong idea about
well,
progressives.
usually persons who expose themselves, flash and masturbate, etc., usually come from a background of suppression, sexual suppression. Not
Yeah.
progressive. Okay?
I mean,
So that seems a little strange.
yeah, I mean, it's like when I watch True TV, you know, the video programs, you know, with Danny Bonaducci and all those other comedians. They had a guy that was having sex with a picnic table in somebody's yard. You know, the hole where the umbrella goes in. He mounted it. He got on top of it and put his dick in the hole. And then there was the people that were.
Did he at least lube it?
I guess, I don't know. And then there's the guy who was doing the front grill of his SUV, sticking his dick in the grill. I guess he loved his vehicle so much. Yeah, I mean, these are all very real, unfortunately.
Kansas City Bishop Robert Finn on Thursday became the highest-ranking U.S. Catholic official convicted during the church's decades-long child sexual abuse scandal. After a short non-jury trial, Jackson County Circuit Court Judge John Torrance convicted Finn of one misdemeanor count of failing to report suspicions of child abuse, but acquitted him on another count of failing to report. Torrance sentenced Finn to 2 years of probation, and then suspended the sentence, meaning that if Finn completes the unsupervised probation without any new incidents, his criminal record will be expunged.
Expunged?
Finn had faced a maximum penalty of a year in jail and $1,000 fine on each charge. Prosecutors asked for 2 years of probation. Defense attorneys sought a suspended sentence. Before being sentenced, Finn told the judge, "I truly regret and am sorry for the hurt these events have caused." Though the Diocese of Kansas City, St. Joseph also was to be tried Thursday on the same 2 counts, Judge Torrance severed the cases shortly after the proceedings opened. After Finn's conviction, prosecutors dropped the charges against the diocese, which had faced a fine of up to $5,000 on each charge if convicted. The charges stemmed from the church's handling of the Reverend Sean Radigan, on whose laptop computer a Dacian vendor found hundreds of lewd photos of young girls in December 2010.
What's Dacian? What did you say?
The diocesan, I guess you would.
The diocese.
The diocesan.
Oh, okay.
One diocese, I guess.
So there were photos of underage females.
I presume they're underage.
Which is
why would they be calling them children?
Because which makes them pedophiles.
1/3 of the Catholic Church priests are pedophiles.
Homosexual pedophiles too.
Mostly men. I mean, boys, yes. Finn's second in command at the diocese, Monsignor Robert Murphy, did not report the photographs to police for 5 months. He was probably looking at them himself in the 5 months. The verdict means that Finn had reasonable suspicions that Radigan had abused children, but failed to notify authorities. Finn is the first bishop in the country, and is believed to be one of only 2 bishops in the world convicted of failing to report suspected child abuse.
So
the other case was in France.
So this bishop, was he also waxing his bishop to these photos?
Most likely, if he could do that. Radigan, 46 years of age, awaits sentencing after pleading guilty in federal court to have 5 counts of producing or attempting to produce child pornography. He still faces pornography charges in Clay County, Missouri.
Oh. Well, Mr. Finn, if he ever has a son, he should call the kid Mickey.
Bishop Finn.
No, Mickey. Then the kid will be Mickey Finn.
Jesus,
And if he ever has a daughter, he should name her Polly, and with the middle name Esther.
Polyester Finn. Oh,
Polyester Finn.
short one here
Okay.
as we go out.
Yeah, for break.
35 years after leaving Earth, Voyager 1 is reaching for the stars.
Not if Chris Christie was an astronaut in there.
Sooner or later, the workhorse spacecraft will bid adieu
Wouldn't get off the ground.
to the solar system and enter a new realm of space. The first time a man-made object will have escaped to the other side.
That's right. And it's safe and sound, from what you told me.
Perhaps no one on Earth will relish the moment more than 76-year-old Ed Stone, who has toiled on the project from the start.
I like relish. On a good quality hot dog, that is.
We're anxious to get outside and find what's out there, he said. When NASA's Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 first rocketed out of Earth's grip in 1977,
You don't say.
no one knew how long they would live.
That's an old jalopy of a probe they sent up that long ago. That's how old it is.
Now, they are the longest operating spacecraft in history and the most distant, at billions of miles from the Earth, but in different directions.
I guess it takes time to get that far out. I mean, unless they discover the secret to utilizing wormholes to take shortcuts across the universe.
Today marks the 35th anniversary of Voyager 1's launch to Jupiter and Saturn. It is now flitting around the fringes of the solar system.
The fringes of the This is the Milky Way galaxy we're talking about. It is
Our solar system.
It is leaving
Our
solar system, which is the Milky Way galaxy.
Correct.
Not to be confused with the Three Musketeers galaxy and the Snickers galaxy.
A hot and turbulent area created by a stream of charged particles from the sun. Outside is a new frontier in the Milky Way.
You should be a starship captain.
The space between stars.
Wow.
Once it plows through, scientists expect a calmer environment by comparison.
How do you know?
Remember that Star Trek episode?
They don't know what's
When they approached the edge of the galaxy? They didn't know if they would make it through. Very interesting. When that will happen is anybody's guess. Voyager 1 is an uncharted celestial territory. One thing is clear. The boundary that separates the solar system and interstellar space is near. But it could take days, months, or years to cross the milestone. Voyager 1 is more than 11 billion miles from the sun. Twin Voyager 2, which celebrated its launch anniversary 2 weeks ago. Well, he's only a baby here.
Well,
baby
if you
Voyager
think the sun is huge, you should take a look at some of the other suns in other galaxies. They make the sun look like a little dot.
Yes, our sun is not the biggest,
like Beetlejuice.
The biggest globe, burning disk in the.
Well,
in the cosmos.
To let you know just how insignificant us earthlings are, us wicked, sinful earthlings are, arrogant and pompous. If you take our sun and put it next to the other suns, it looks like a dot. You take our Earth and put it next to our sun, it looks like a dot. Even some of the solar flares are much larger than the planet Earth. So that gives you an idea how insignificant we really are in the scheme of things.
Well, in our insignificancy, we are quite vain. We are quite vain.
Which gives you an idea how big God is. I mean, if we are an amoeba or a paramecium compared to
a worm,
a worm,
or a locust, or filthy rags, as God describes us.
But mankind's nose is way up in the air.
My shit don't stink. Anyway.
That's right.
Voyager 2 trails behind at 9 billion miles from the sun. They're still ticking despite being relics of the early space age. Each has an 8-track tape player
Oh no.
Who the hell is going to be able to play that if they run into anybody?
An 8-track tape player
Oh my
on
God!
the Voyager.
Ancient by today's standards,
8-track. Not even a cassette.
and 68 kilobytes of computer memory.
If you would have told me a turntable with a record album, I would have passed out right now.
Well, they did send that up on one thing there, a big golden disc with information on it, like a time capsule type situation. Yes, they did. I don't know what,
With
vehicle it was on. But
with drawings of a man and a woman naked, with like drawings.
I don't know about drawings. I'm talking about this disc. Who the hell's going to be able to play it? You can't play 8-track today.
Are they trying to? Yeah, they think aliens that are more advanced than we are.
Yeah, are going to be dealing in 8-track.
Are gonna be.
Oh wow, the analog revolution. That's fantastic. Bleep, 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 bleep.
Yeah, they're gonna turn around and say to their alien buddies, "Do you still have that old 8-track from a billion years ago?
Yeah.
An 8-track player?" Oh, what nincompoops!
By comparison, the smallest iPod, an 8 gigabyte iPod Nano, is 100,000 times more powerful.
Nano. Incredible.
Incredible.
Every time we think we heard it all, we haven't.
We haven't heard it all.
If you people are wondering what this is, for those of you that make fun of it or ask me what it is, this is a weapons grade blackthorn shillelagh imported from Ireland. Okay, authentic and very hard. Me leprechaun stick, I like waving it around. It helps me emphasize things. Jabronis. Anyway, we have to take a break. It is time for the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman's gastronomic delight known as lunch, followed by his vitamins and mega vitamin C, right?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Because you had your tea early, right?
Yeah. I had my TP.
TP?
Alright.
From the beginning.
What from the beginning?
Well, Dr. Bill, looks like you're eating pulled chicken.
I'm eating chicken.
What did you call it before?
Polo.
No, the full name.
I don't know.
You just
Chicken.
said no. You said pulled.
Pulled chicken.
No, you said the other word, the Spanish word.
Polo.
Put it together.
Pulled polo.
Pulled pollo. That's what I wanted you to say. It has a funny sound to it. It has a nice ring to it. Pulled pollo. Sometimes he says real funny, clever things off the air.
Yeah, I'm a
But once
comedian.
the camera's on, he dummies up. Now do you
Comedy
know?
Central's looking for me. I'll be here all week.
Pulled pollo.
I'll be here all week. Come on down,
Pulled pollo.
okay?
Choking the chicken. Well, does it taste good?
Master Palmer.
Does it taste good? All right, good. I'm happy for you. You said you were listening to
I was listening to for the first time in a long time, The Fifth Dimension with Marilyn McCoo.
Marilyn McCoo now or back then?
Back then.
And what was she doing?
One less bell to answer. One less egg to fry. One less man to pick up after.
One less egg to fry.
That's correct.
One egg? If it was me,
Well, maybe
it'll be 3 less eggs to fry because I eat at least 3 eggs minimum. What is this, 1 egg? What kind of
maybe
a...
it has toast with it, sausage,
come
hash
on.
browns.
What am I going to do with 1 egg? 1 egg is nothing. What kind of a pipsqueak man eats 1 egg? Woody Allen? Come on. Protein. 3 less eggs to fry, at least with me. If it's a great omelet, I can go 6 eggs. And I will be in ecstasy.
Oh, boy.
Exactly. Anyway, I will begin with promo. like I normally do. This gentleman next to me, this is a self-portrait of the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. The Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman is a fine watercolor artist, and you can check out the William J. Eisenman collection by simply Googling the William J. Eisenman collection, and it's in a slideshow. Almost all of his paintings, almost, possibly 95% of them are there, maybe a little more. And you can also check out the entire album, 100% of his paintings, on our Newsletter Censored Facebook page. If there's something there that you like, go to newslettercensored.com, send the Reverend Dr. Bill an email and ask him if it's still available. If it is, you can acquire it. The bidding usually starts at $500 each, but make him a good offer, you know, and a good gift offer, and you will get an authentically signed watercolor painting. Now, the best way to join our organization, the best way to be a part of our organization, and the best way to support our organization is to get your free annual subscription to Newsletter Censored. This newsletter was founded in 1977 by my co-host and mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. This is the kind of information that most people are afraid to hear. Can you handle it? There is information here that can never, has never, and will never be heard in the mainstream media or read in the mainstream press. Okay? And there's more information in the newsletter than there is on our talk shows or on our websites. So go to newslettercensored.com and click on the printable order form, and with your gift to support this work, get your free annual subscription to Newsletter Censored. Okay, this is how you join our organization. We are living in the end times, and you need Newsletter Censored. You need this to learn how to defeat a conservative. Okay, and it's just loaded with so much information and detail and research. This is the new issue. There is a new issue coming out. When is the next quarter coming for the new issue? What
It's
month?
in the process right now, being typed up.
It's in the process now. This was the one before that, number 120, titled "Screwed." All right, but this is it. This is what we're all about. This is the backbone of our organization. Okay, this is how you join our organization. So get your subscription right now. Go to newslettercensored.com. Okay. And I want to salute and thank all of our brilliant and dedicated members of our very fast growing and exciting Facebook groups. Holistic Health Talk, okay, which happens to be on our radio station today. Holistic Health Talk, the Facebook group, very fast growing, loaded with tons of valuable information on holistic health and fighting the drug companies and Monsanto's genetically modified foods. Just multitudes of information on nutrition and health and herbal medicine and naturopathy, homeopathy, and also my other even newer group and fast growing and possibly the hardest hitting group in the universe, the Truth Whisperers on Facebook. So everyone is welcome to join. And what makes these groups so unique, including the Meal Ticket, MEEL, which is my fitness group, what makes them unique is there is no censorship whatsoever on my groups. No one will be banned or blocked or booted unless you're a spammer. If you're a spammer, you're out. But otherwise, no matter how offensive other people perceive you, you can fight with people, you can debate them, you can display how crude you are and uneducated. If you want to be a real idiot, you know, you can post whatever you want, but you got to be ready to be able to take it, not just dish it out. And there's no censorship, 100% corporate and FCC free in terms of what is posted on these groups. Just click on the about word, the link about, which is up on top, and you will read what the groups are about, and feel free to join them, and feel free to join other people, you know, if you think it's something they would like. And I made these groups that way because I myself was a victim of censorship. Of course, you know, the questions I asked the Pendulum at the beginning of the show. This was one of the main reasons why I made my groups censorship free, and I will stick by that rule always. Okay, because I was promised that there will be no censorship when I was a member of these other groups. And you know, with my groups, there is absolutely no ass kissing whatsoever. I don't care if it's celebrities, politicians, political parties, corporations. There's plenty of ass kisses out there, but it's not with the Mega Life 21 newsletter censored organization, and especially not the groups that we have. But the groups are very educational, extremely informative, and extremely hard-hitting. So if you can take it, if you can take the heat, the groups are for you. You know, they're not for the faint at heart. So I will formally celebrate our fast-growing groups by using this New Year's Eve noisemaker. That's my celebrating noisemaker. Are you almost done there, sir? All right. When you're done, let me know. I forgot to take a quercetin, vitamin C, or even a Benadryl, because I'm getting a real bad reaction to, I don't know if it's ragweed season it's kicking in now, or the dust. Excuse me, people. I should have took something. Getting a little hay fever symptoms here. I mean, it works fantastic, Benadryl, but it knocks you out. If anybody has an insomnia, I've tried.
Says it's non-drowsy.
I've tried Claritin, which is a loratadine. I've tried the other one, the new one, Zyrtec, which is expensive and non-drowsy, and it's 1 pill a day. Doesn't work as well as the drowsy Benadryl. The drowsy Benadryl is still superior to those other two, but it makes you drowsy. If anybody out there has problems with insomnia, take Benadryl. It'll knock you right out, you know. But, you know, that's if melatonin and valerian root doesn't work for you as a last resort. But Benadryl will work. But the problem is, if you take it during the day to offset the allergy symptoms, and you have something important to do, and you need to drive, and you need to go to work, or whatever you're doing, you know, I don't know, take one. Don't take 2 capsules. But let me make myself useful. We'll get back to the articles. And all right. Oh man. Oh, let me. This is the message that the right-wing Republicans and Tea Party people, along with the 1% elitists, corporate CEOs, this is the message they have for America's low-income people and poor. Little Xylon voice. We are here to kill you. That was my imported from Italy Jew's harp that I've had since the 1980s. Okay, back to the articles.
Record numbers of households, U.S. households, struggled at times to feed their families last year. According to a report Wednesday from the U.S. Department of Agriculture on the state of hunger in America.
It's because Chris Christie's getting all the food in America.
A lack of resources forced others to cut back on meals and disrupt their usual eating patterns.
I believe it.
A record 17.9 million U.S. households, that means the figure could be more than 17.9 million. A household could have 4 people in it.
That's true.
700,000 more than in 2010. Didn't have enough food at all times last year to sustain active, healthy lives for all family members. This food insecurity affected a record 14.9% of U.S. households.
Is this an all-time low, Bill?
No! It's an all-time high.
Oh, I mean, you mean all-time high in terms of hunger in America?
Yes.
Yeah, all-time high. Yeah.
Once upon a time, you know, these social programs were working. But now, and it cut the rate of poverty and etc. in half. But with all the cutting and etc. that goes on, they're not keeping up with the cost of living.
Thanks to the Republican Congress.
You know, these things aren't doing the job anymore.
Nope.
Anyway, that's more than 50 million people. About 1/6 U.S. residents. 1 in 6 U.S. residents.
Mm-hmm.
More than 1 in every 3 food insecure households, 6.8 million, had very low food insecurity. Meaning that 1 or more family members cut back on eating last year because of a lack of either money or other access to food. That's an increase of 400,000 households over 2010. After falling to 5.4% in 2010, the percentage of households with very low food security jumped to 5.7% last year, matching the record levels in 2008 and 2009, at the height of the economic collapse.
Mm-hmm.
It cannot be said too often that the economic collapse occurred on G.W. Bush's watch.
Sure, the greatest damage ever done to the United States in the history of the country. But they're so quick to blame Obama for everything.
That's correct.
G.W. Bush did.
The effect on children was significant. Nearly 9 million children lived in food insecure households last year, and 845,000 were in households with very low food security. These numbers show the impact of the recession has not gone away yet.
No, and people have to realize we have a Republican Congress and we have a Senate that where the Democrats cannot override the Republican vote in the Senate. Is that correct? They don't have
Filibuster.
enough filibuster.
Can't do it.
Can't do it. They don't have
Need
enough
60.
votes. So if you want to keep on blaming Obama with lies, just take a look at the House and Senate. What is Obama supposed to do? They voted down everything Obama wanted. But of course I don't even want to address the morons and idiots in the United States that continue to bash Obama, because I think in actuality these people are racist. They just don't like the idea that we have a black president.
Bingo!
I think that's the reason. I'm starting to feel strongly about that. They're a bunch of racists.
It's one thing to say that wages are flat, but it's something else to say that people aren't getting enough to eat. The findings in the annual USDA survey, Household Food Security in the United States in 2011, show that hunger is one of the most persistent and widespread after effects of the Great Recession, which claimed 8.7 million U.S. jobs. While 85% of households have adequate access to food, the report says, soup kitchens and food banks across the nation have seen dramatic increases in requests for assistance.
Of course, America has more poor than ever, and it's growing. The number is growing, and finally, the U.S. media on TV admitted that the unemployment numbers are actually much higher because a lot of people have given up their search for employment, and they have run out of the federal extension to unemployment, and they are frustrated and they have given up. Therefore, they are not part of the numerical figure anymore. They finally admitted this recently.
The survey was conducted on a representative sample of the United States population. It found that most households, regardless of race, gender, age, and family size, generally spent less on food last year than they did in 2010. But food insecurity rates were highest among households with children, those headed by single parents, those with black and Latino families. The survey data come as congressional Republicans, led by GOP vice presidential nominee Paul Ryan of Wisconsin.
Yeah, Wisconsin, the red state, which I think in the past was not a red state. Right?
Push for massive cuts in food stamp program funding to curb enrollment growth and to help balance the federal budget.
They always take from the poor, including poor children. They always take from the poor instead of taxing the rich.
I believe there's a proverb in the Bible which states, paraphrasing, that one should not take from the poor, rob the poor, merely because they are poor.
Yeah, and if a hungry poor person steals a loaf of bread, they are not supposed to be thrown in jail and be punished for it. That's in the Bible too.
Well, no, it's in the Bible. You're not supposed to steal, period.
Right. And what about collecting interest?
But the point
if
is,
the poor person borrows money? Yeah, something like that.
The point is, under God's economics, the poor, the fatherless, the widows, if you are rich or whatever and you have your plantation or whatever, you're supposed to leave on the outside fringes of your land the food for the poor and the fatherless and the widows, etc.
And I hope one of the poor families doesn't become selfish and greedy and take all of the food that's left on the fringe, the outskirts of the farm. That's providing it's shared. I think it should be evenly distributed by by an agency, not just left out. But I understand what you're saying about the Bible and its treatment of the poor.
If we didn't have such siphoning up to the top, we wouldn't have so much poor.
I posted the 3 Bible verses about the rich giving to the poor on the Truth Whispers, and did you know that it didn't do anything to convince those 2 goofballs, Keith Lewis and Roger Williams? It did nothing. It did not affect them whatsoever.
It doesn't. And they will claim, and they will go to church on Sunday, and they will claim to be good Christians, etc., just like the conservative Republicans do.
I mean, it's proof.
Angels of Light.
Angels of Light, which is the name of the new
article.
The new newsletter censored issue that's coming out, number 121, right? 121. Now, I mean, it's so plain as the nose on your faces. The God of the Bible is definitely, positively not right-wing conservative, because it's loaded with verses concerning the rich helping and giving to the poor all the time and sharing the world's natural resources. But then they start coming at me with, whoever doesn't work doesn't eat, and talking about lazy people. Yeah, that's providing the job market.
It's not talking about lazy people there.
But there's no job market here. There's no jobs. The economy, all the jobs most of them are outsourced. So how could you blame the poor for not wanting to get a job if the jobs are not here? They say the same thing like a broken record.
They say the same thing because it's coming from vanity. I do not want to share my wealth with you.
You know what I told them?
That's what.
That if we have martial law in this country and a civil war at a desperation, we're going to have to come and loot your mansions.
That's what they're afraid of.
In the hundreds of thousands. Well, if people are desperate, hey.
Why do you think they got the corporations, the military, the police, the elites on their side? Because that's what they are afraid of.
They're afraid that
they're afraid of democracy.
You're talking about these stingy people that don't want to give up, they don't want to share and pay their taxes.
They don't want to give their 2 coats, as the Bible says. Or to give away and sell all of your goods and follow me. They don't want to do that.
But they'll post.
Because they are idolaters.
But the love of money is idolatry.
Love of money. They do. As God says, do not give to the rich, because they have their consolation.
But they'll turn around and they'll post.
It is a sin to give to the rich.
They'll turn around and they'll post Republican banners on
because they don't know.
Let me finish.
Damn it.
They'll post Republican banners with a picture of Republicans bowing their head in church and pretending to be godly and good Christians.
And that impresses who?
Because they go to church every Sunday.
And it impresses who?
It doesn't impress me.
It impresses those who do not know their Bible.
There's plenty of counterfeit Christians and phony Christians that go to church on Sunday. Big damn deal. There's plenty of them out there.
Mark 7, verses 7 through 9.
Hypocrites. Yeah.
You worship me in vain.
Right.
Or, why do you call me Lord? You don't do what I say. Okay?
Yeah. Oh, by the way,
they're not Christians.
They're not Christians at all. I talked to Ken Create, and he says, tell your friend Billy he's all wet and he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Tell him to read the newsletter. Don't bother me with his...
He says he insists that
he can insist all he wants.
The verse absence from the body is present with the Lord is as plain as the nose on your face. He said it's plain and simple and direct.
It doesn't mean anything without a context. I've told you that how many times?
Well, he says...
What context is it coming from?
Well, he says, what does it say? Absent from the body. It means something has to leave your body, right?
No. That's an interpretation. I just said it means nothing unless it's in a context.
Right.
What context is it in?
Well, he didn't
because you can pull one verse out of the Bible where there are 1,000 others that say you need a resurrection to become immortal. What does that mean?
You're right.
This is ridiculous.
And why?
And if a person is really interested in finding out things, as I say, read the newsletter.
And if you're
There's a God project in it every issue.
That's right. And if you're resurrected into a perfect spiritual being that is with the Lord, why do you need a resurrection?
Huh?
And he explained to me.
You didn't say that right.
No. Like,
jeez.
Playing advocate. Like if you pass.
If you're an immortal being
if you fly out of your body when you die, and you have a soul that doesn't feel any pain or gets sick or whatever, and you're with the Lord, then you had said many times, why do we require a resurrection of the physical body?
And if you're in the Lord, with the Lord, you're going to be in Jerusalem, not in heaven, because He's going to be in Jerusalem.
Yeah, and
with the other elect.
And I told him, I says, Satan and his demons, they don't sit in heavenly places and occupy ranks. They're on the earth. He says they're not on the earth yet. They're sitting in heavenly places.
People can say anything.
Because that part about...
And they do.
We don't fight up against flesh and blood. We fight against
principalities. What does that mean?
And he says that's sit in heavenly places. It's in the Bible.
Well, he ought to read 2 Peter, where the devil and his minions are restrained on the earth.
It's a very complicated subject.
It's not complicated. The Bible is plain and simple.
That's what he said.
It's plain and simple people who don't understand anything because it is denied them. Understand that. It is denied them. They are deceived. And they must remain deceived.
They always say people do not know how to rightly divide to interpret the Bible. See,
again, you're interpreting it. It doesn't need interpretation.
I'm only parroting what he said, that's all.
Well, why don't he say one thing and one thing only? Could I have an issue of the newsletter? Because the God Project, this issue is called, Do You Have an Immortal Soul? I think it might be a little enlightening and give a bunch of scriptures.
People like
that, if you weren't lazy,
people like that
could look them up.
You see, there's one great thing about the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. He tells you where to go to look them up. He gives you the exact verse and where it's located. You know what I mean? The chapter and the exact verse. And
not just one verse.
All of them.
But a bunch of verses on the same subject.
And the concordance helps find those verses on the same subject. Is that correct?
Well, obviously, someone who counts themselves as a Christian and a Bible student or scholar should know these things.
Well, the one thing I definitely disagree on is...
it's not a matter of disagreement or agreement.
Is going around bugging people to try to save other people's souls. And the tribulation...
Genesis 2:7, even animals are living souls.
Oh, he had a question for you.
Oh, I don't answer questions. Especially to people who don't look it up. I'm not here to do their homework.
He says, why do it's actually very short and simple. Why do Christians in the end times that are the nicest people that have repented, why do they have to suffer in the tribulation and perish?
Because they haven't been so nice. Who said they're nice?
Because there's a lot of nice people that have repented and accepted Christ as the Savior.
Let's just put the number out, there are 2,000 Christian denominations in the world.
Yeah.
If there's a God, only one of them is correct.
True.
So the other 1,900 are going to suffer.
Yeah.
And where does this come from? 11 of the original apostles were martyred. They suffered.
They suffered. Yeah, and
The
well,
prophets of old
and as far
suffered.
as like the law goes, I'm sure everyone has broken at least one or more of the Ten
All have
Commandments
sinned.
every day.
All have sinned.
The Ten Commandments, yeah,
Period.
all have sinned.
That's correct.
So all these so-called nice people,
There are none nice,
no, they
but
just
the Father in heaven.
I mean,
None are good.
They put on the facade. Anybody could walk around with a big smile and act nice. I mean, you're still
Angels of light.
you're still a sinner. Angels of light. I bet. Look, my mother was fooled, and one of my exes were fooled by Joel Osteen. They said, "Oh, what a nice, friendly, positive man he is. He's always smiling, and his wife is pleasant, and he's so pleasant. He's a positive guy to listen to." Yeah, he's a prosperity preacher that talks about money all the time.
Hey, look. Anybody who is a student of the Bible, all they need to do is read Matthew 24 in the end time. And is that pleasant? I don't think so.
2 Timothy, it tells you how people will behave in the end time. That's not positive
2
either.
Timothy 3, 1 through 13.
There you go.
Yeah.
If you want to know how people will become, which actually they're becoming that now, without natural affection, right? Cold. It's all there. It's all there. All
The
right.
problem is, do not place yourself in the situation of arguing or doing the homework for anyone who questions a statement that I make that is biblically oriented. Okay?
Because
All they need to do is go and look it up. And if God has opened their mind, they will understand it. If not, it is futile. Resistance is futile.
well, I noticed that you
The
get
Borg said.
that
Did
you-
the Borg say that?
who?
Resistance is futile. The Borg said that to Captain Picard.
Hold on. Let me see if I can do an alien voice. Wait, resistance is futile?
Yeah.
Resistance is futile. Resistance is futile.
Resistance is futile.
Of course, the Borg were a little more emphatic in their statement.
But what was I saying?
I was talking about wasting time.
Oh, you
These people.
tell people exactly where all the verses are.
That's correct.
I haven't really received that from the Paul's letters. Great
Because what they're saying are not-
dispensation of grace, people.
What they are saying is not there.
Dispensation of grace. Yeah.
That's the reason.
Well,
But it's very simple. If you disagree with me, and I have stated something from the Bible, then don't argue with me or anyone else. Look it up. Stop being lazy. Do your homework.
well, all I know is I told him, and he actually agreed with me. Anytime someone has brought me to one of these so-called born-again, evangelical, holy roller Bible study churches, there are more people with issues, and more people that are dysfunctional, and more people that are downright troublemakers in those churches than there are outside the church who do not call themselves quote unquote born again Christians. And you can't be born again in the flesh, by the way.
That's correct. But
Yeah.
that goes without saying.
A lot of people with issues in those churches.
They have the wrong God. It's very simple. All they need to do is do the homework.
Hmm.
Find the real God.
Do the homework. Do the hustle.
But they're too lazy to do that.
Yeah, I know.
And that's what the problem is. And then they want to convince you. But you don't argue convincing. because
Yeah.
like my job is not here to convince anybody.
Yeah.
I'm not here to lord myself over anybody with my knowledge.
Just read the God
I
Project.
am a warner, a messenger. I put it out there,
Yeah.
and you take it and you look it up.
Listen to the God Project. Read the God Project. The God Project is on the internet. Google it.
Oh yeah, if you're too lazy to read it,
God Project.
listen to it.
The God Project Archive Classics. The God Project on Demand. I'm sorry. God Project on Demand Archive Classics. Censored on Demand Archive Classics. Just Google it. It's all there. Oh, this guy on YouTube seems to be preoccupied with my penis size.
oh my God.
Just because I did an old consumer tip review on products, infomercial products that don't really work that well, like Extends, and I also mentioned,
which can be bought from in Dr. Leonard catalog, by the way.
yeah, it's on sale now, Dr. Leonard's, and before Ron Jeremy was advertising it on the infomercial.
Ron Jeremy looks like crap today.
It's like a fat, hairy.
He's disgusting looking.
Yeah, and Gary No, Dr. Gary No, said in one of his books that red Panax ginseng extract will enlarge your genitalia as a man. Right away, because I gave those tips, this guy, who happens to be the moderator of the group, Regional Food and Drink, administrator, whatever, and moderator, he interprets that as me saying that I have a tiny dick and I need to enlarge it. Well, first of all, I'm not going to discuss my penis with another man. It doesn't sound right. It sounds very weird and possibly gay. You know, I mean, and second of all, has he ever heard the old saying, there's always room for improvement in everything in life? It doesn't necessarily mean that one is small. You know, I mean, John Holmes was big.
Donkey dick.
Maybe somebody is above average that wants to be a John Holmes, that wants to have a donkey dick. When the weather's hot and sticky, that's no time for Dunkin' Dicky. But when the frost is on the pumpkin, that's the time for Dicky Duncan. You know,
Love it, love it.
yeah, I learned that when I was in high school. But you know, it doesn't mean somebody's small, and it's ridiculous. But he keeps on talking about posting things about my penis size and everything. Or, I don't know, preoccupied with it.
With so many of our neighbors, friends, and family worrying about where their next meal may be coming from, now is not the time to use federal nutrition programs as a trading chip to balance the budget. Indeed, food stamp enrollment has almost doubled from a monthly pre-recession average of 26.3 million people in 2007.
You want to balance the budget? Cut the Pentagon, the defense budget. Cut military spending, wasteful military spending, and no more welfare for the rich. No more Wall Street bailouts. Those two things will end. Will fix the budget.
Well, where are we going to get the money back from the banks?
Well, maybe throwing them in prison and convicting them.
Eric Holder says no.
No,
They're not going to prosecute nobody.
was Eric
Just as they did not prosecute G.W. Bush and Dick Cheney for war crimes.
Was Eric Holder's palm greased
No, he was told to lay off.
by somebody?
What do you mean by somebody?
By the fat cats?
By the powers that be.
Lay off.
Wall Street, Goldman Sachs is powerful.
They still are?
More powerful.
Jesse Ventura had no problem barging into their office and telling their asses off. But Jesse's a special guy.
What did that do?
No, they're still
I'm
corrupt.
talking money.
They're still not.
I'm talking money.
They still
Money means power.
They still have the ill-gotten gain they always had and more. They are still corrupted. They are still sleazy. They are still
and they can still bring this country to its knees.
They already have, and they can still do a better job of doing that.
Yeah.
And there's a hands-off policy. We're just like G.W. Bush, hands-off policy, right?
Yet look at the 1.4 million, I guess it is, somewhere around there, people who are losing their homes. And guess what they got from the Fed, from the government? Close your eyes. What do you see?
The middle of a donut,
What do you see?
a donut hole.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. That's what they got.
What about that banner I posted on the Truth Whispers about what percentage of the of the groceries that the farmers and ranchers actually receive compared to the middlemen?
That's correct.
In the food
big
industry.
boys had the farm subsidies all sewed up.
They have all of the basic food sold in supermarkets, and they show you how much on a dollar goes to farmers and ranchers and how much goes to the
middlemen, yeah.
sleazy fat cat food industry middlemen.
I think there's like 4 huge companies that deal in all of that stuff.
So
That's what we've done with this privatization crap,
you got
which I said with the very beginning about Cablevision.
the 1% corporations grabbing more and more and more, higher and higher, and the masses going lower and lower and lower and lower.
Because the more money that goes to the top, the less is available to the bottom. That means the economy is contracted. 70% of our economy, our GDP, depends on the consumerism. Buying and selling of the 70%.
Well, I guess they're going to have to sell their
Not
products.
the 1%.
I guess they're going to have to sell their products overseas because Americans won't have the surplus cash to buy the products.
And
Right?
And since the corporations have no loyalty to any country, they can go where they want.
No, their loyalty is to the bottom line. That's it. Period. Period.
Anyway, food stamp enrollment has doubled from a monthly pre-recession average of 26.3 million to, that was in 2007. Now it's 46.4 million people so far this year. Oh, those people are lazy. Those people, we don't need those programs. You know, when you make a program, a social program or whatever, there's usually a reason. And if we got the reason here of millions, tens of millions of people who are food insecure, I guess that means the program is worthwhile.
Yeah.
Huh?
Like I said, instead of starving out the poor, just trim the waste where it needs to be trimmed. Military and Wall Street and welfare for the rich.
Subsidies for the big corporations.
Cut subsidies completely
And their
for
tax breaks.
for the big corporations. Make them pay the bulk of the taxes.
They used to pay 40%.
You know,
Yeah.
shift the
Now
tax
they pay
burden.
8%.
Shift the tax burden back to the rich. That's it. And cut the defense budget.
And there's nothing unseemly about that, because in 1913, as I keep saying, the income tax amendment was directed at those who had money.
Money.
Simple as that. The growth coincides with an even larger increase in jobless Americans, from 7.6 million when the recession first hit in December 2007 to 15.4 million by October 2009. Nearly 12.8 million Americans were still unemployed as of this July. Of course, that number is low. The Congressional Budget Office expects food stamp enrollment to fall back to pre-recession levels as the economy improves. Republicans in the House of Representatives have voted to convert food stamps to a block grant in 2015 that would cap the funding.
Ah.
In other words, they'll just give so much money to the state, and if that's not enough, too bad. Okay? Same thing with the Medicare program with their voucher system. $6,400, whatever the hell it is. You buy your private insurance for $6,400, and if it costs you more, you know, your medical whatever your thing is, guess what? Out of pocket. You gotta pay it.
You gotta pay, and let me tell you something. Medicare does not pay
Everything
for a lot
now.
of things. Big deal the way conservative Washington has Medicare set up. Oh, big fucking deal. It's like Medicaid. Medicaid, they pay a chiropractor a lousy $5 or $6 a visit, for God's sakes. No wonder doctors won't take Medicaid. What a bunch of bullshit the way they have these social programs set up. They're set up to fail. Anyway, let's finish the article.
It's believed by a lot of people that the military should not only be exempt from its share of austerity cuts, but should have its budget vastly increased.
Huh?
They lament that the projected $500 billion in sequestration cuts due on January the 2nd. They wail that we will have the smallest Navy, Air Force, and ground forces since before the World Wars,
Oh, poor things.
without acknowledging that we have a prodigious force as it stands.
With all those smart weapons they have out there, man, where they can see their target from a satellite, they don't need as many aircraft to get the job done.
Correct.
Including the Apache helicopters that are invisible to radar, that can fly at night and could locate targets and with pinpoint accuracy. They don't need as many. I think the tank is probably obsolete.
Tank is obsolete according to the weapon that was used in Iraq.
The battleship is long been obsolete.
Battleship, they have to have bunches and bunches of ships to surround it, to protect it. Because it's so vulnerable.
So the only thing they have is the aircraft carrier, the destroyer, which I don't even think the destroyer of today, what can it do against a modern day nuclear submarine?
Nothing.
I mean, a modern day sub.
Nothing.
You know, so the Navy, through progress, I mean through technology, is already vastly reduced naturally.
Obsolete.
Same thing with the Air Force, obsolete.
Obsolete.
Yeah.
Drones and Tomahawk missiles. You know.
Unmanned, all these unmanned craft.
Yeah.
Exactly. Drones, perfect example.
It is forgotten, an obvious lesson of history, that all great empires are destroyed by two simultaneous events: military overreach without leading to an ever greater disinvestment on infrastructure within. The Romans, the British, the Soviet Union all made the same mistake of expanding their military obligations beyond their immediate need.
Probably the ancient Greeks too, and
Romans.
and maybe Egypt, the pharaohs. They bit off more than they could
Egypt
chew.
was never a worldwide empire.
No, but they were pharaohs.
There were only 4 throughout history.
Yeah. Well, they're arch.
The Babylonian,
Well, the arch nemesis of the pharaohs was, I think, the Hittites. There was a race of people in Middle East
two
called,
different
like
areas.
Turkey, where Turkey is now.
2 different areas.
Yeah, Hittites.
The Hittites were in Canaan.
Yeah.
That's where the Israelites were headed when they left Egypt.
Oh.
Canaan. There were only four world ruling empires throughout history.
Don't forget Genghis Khan.
Babylonians,
Mongols.
the Ottoman Empire, the Greeks under Alexander the Great, and the Roman Empire.
And the greatest, as far as land, conquering land, is the Mongolians, the Mongol under Genghis Khan. The Mongols.
But they were never a worldwide ruling empire. I said there are only 4.
So what did they do? They raided, pillaged, and plundered, but they never colonized
Probably.
the Mongols.
Their
did not-
extent never reached,
Yeah.
you know.
Like the Vikings used to attack, but they never really colonized
For
the world.
thousands of years, China was quiet as far as worldwide events were concerned. That's
Yeah.
why it built the wall,
Well, Japan
to
too.
keep people out.
Yeah, they weren't interested in conquering the world. They were very private.
They all saw every problem as a nail and every solution as a military hammer. The world is no longer the devastated hell of Europe and Japan after World War II. There is no longer the direct challenge of international socialism from Red China and the USSR. McDonald's has outlets in Beijing, Moscow, Ho Chi Minh City. In that struggle, we have won. The true competition is in whose society the most educated, technologically savvy students arise. In which society will the deepest and widest infrastructure be built that will minimize cost and maximize efficiency? If we don't win that struggle, we will end up like the Romans, with our legions fighting in the frontiers, while sheep graze in the Colosseum.
This guy's very articulate, or woman, whoever wrote this.
He's the guy.
Very impressive.
Thomas Sowell's column is nothing but a restatement of the same tired and false claims that Republicans have been making for decades. My wife and I collect Social Security, and I know the various Republican plans may not affect us. However, I have children and grandchildren, and I'm concerned for them. There's not enough money to pay for Social Security, Sowell says. It's a Ponzi scheme, he claims. Well, when you examine the facts, two things stand out. First, if nothing is done, and current economic projections are accurate, the Social Security Trust Fund will run out sometime around 2040. That's if we do nothing. If we do nothing today,
Yeah, or
it will run out. 28 years from now.
or enough Americans become more foolish and more stupider than they already are, and they vote in Republicans in the House, Senate, and White House, and the Republicans have
And it will
control.
be privatized.
Yeah, it's Social Security.
And the money will go to Wall Street.
Yeah.
Hey, more money for Wall Street.
And salaries will go down to close to slave labor, right above slave labor salaries. And
we're there now.
And there'll be no minimum wage, and people will be working for, who knows, 25 cents an hour, or enslaved, and more jobs will be outsourced, and the poor will be left to starve and die, and the homeless, and things will definitely collapse and decay, just like they did in all of those so-called great civilizations in history.
After that, current income will be enough to pay about 75% of scheduled payments. Not good, but hardly running out of money. Second, there are several ways to guarantee the financial integrity of the system for at least 75 years. One simple solution is to remove the current salary cap. That's in the trustees' report, but Thomas Sowell does not mention it. Sowell reveals his true agenda when he talks about letting people invest in, well, stocks. Now imagine if if people had invested their Social Security in stocks prior to the financial meltdown. Where would that money be? Close your eyes again. What do you see?
I see the inside of a donut hole.
That money would have been gone.
A lard lad
Gone.
donut. Yeah, gone.
Presumably, and anything else that strikes their fancy. The Republicans and Thomas Sowell seem to want, what they want is for their Wall Street pals to be able to dip into that ocean of money and scoop some of it up for themselves.
Greed, 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 greed.
That wouldn't have worked very well when the market tanked.
Ugh.
But that's capitalism for you.
The devil's economics.
I'll pass on that. Changes are needed, especially in Medicare. But the ones Thomas Sowell wants would enrich his friends and screw the rest of us.
Yes, unfortunately. Unfortunately, that is true. All right. Would you know what? Before we say goodbye,
Goodbye.
or so long,
So long.
so long. It's a funny word. So long. Like John Holmes. So long.
Or Long Dong Silver.
Long
Do not
Dong.
be racist, please.
Long Dong
Don't
Silver.
be bigoted. He had a big dick too.
Um,
Ask Thomas Clarence Thomas.
yeah.
Okay.
I still think that the stage name Dick Cummins would be excellent for a porno star. Dick Cummins. All right, listen. Remember we were talking about Nikola Tesla versus Thomas Edison, and
Correct.
and that little very fat excuse me. That fascinating little story you told me
Little story.
about Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla, and how Tesla was perhaps was Tesla a bit more advanced than Thomas Edison in the invention of light, or just different?
Different.
And you had told me what happened.
Tesla was more in tune with the individual, whereas Mr. Edison was in tune with creating a company and making you buy his electricity, whereas Tesla wanted you to get it free from the air.
So Tesla was a nice, decent person, a good human being.
Well, you know, Jonas Salk was told to patent the polio
Vaccine.
and he said, you can't patent the sun. He felt that that was his gift to mankind, and why should you patent it?
And I guess this is the reason why.
But hey, Microsoft patents everything, and Monsanto patents food.
Food. And this is why Nikola Tesla died alone in a hotel room in New York City, from what I heard, and I kind of broke almost. Well, I mean, he never really he never lived the life he should have lived, and I guess Thomas Edison.
How about the first chess champion of the world, Wilhelm Steinitz? Same thing. He died in poverty. So did the second world champion.
What about?
Died in a hospital in New York, where his wife, visiting him at his side, wasn't even offered a cup of tea.
What about?
In a hospital.
How did Thomas Edison live when he became an old man? Was he employed?
I guess he lived off his patents. I don't know.
Oh, but did he have money?
I guess so, with his patents.
So the government kind of like looked after Thomas Edison, or corporation, corporations.
His corporation.
Oh, so he was a bit of a capitalist, Mr. Thomas Edison. He didn't want to do anything for the good of mankind, and he did not want to provide this electricity for free, just like they want you to pay for everything that's traveling through the air today.
Yes, we go back to my cable, Megan.
the price gouging of cable companies, and then the satellite radio wants you to pay a fee. Everything is a fee, a fee, a fee. A fee for every damn thing.
And of course the bottled water.
Gotta
And
pay
pretty soon it will be the air.
Got to pay for water.
Fresh air.
And then that poor that person who lives in America that has a lovely residential home decided they want to grow vegetables and herbs in the front yard as well as the backyard. Well, guess what? The town they live in
No can do.
wants to fine them $300 per day or week, some
Right.
insane penalty for having vegetables in the front of their house instead of grass.
It's the same thing about these protests and up in arms crap all about a woman who wants to breastfeed. It's as Wilhelm Reich pointed out many moons ago, this world is unnatural.
Well,
And it has a bent against the natural.
listen, a woman that breastfeeds should be very discreet about her breastfeeding.
She doesn't have to be.
She doesn't. Well, you're saying a
Why
woman
does she
should
want-
expose her whole breast with her
I
nipple?
didn't say anything like that.
She's gonna get. Guys are gonna bother her
You're making it. Why would they bother her?
because they get horny when they see the bare breast.
The breast has nothing to do with sexuality.
Yes, it does. If it's a nice-looking breast,
No, it doesn't.
of course it does.
It's to feed the child. This is what I'm saying.
Listen,
You're talking
Listen.
about the non-natural thing.
an ass. It's a muscle, right? Gluteus maximus. Am I
Well,
right?
What does that have to do with sex?
When somebody sees a bare ass, they get aroused.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Oh, you got.
I do not
You
get
got
aroused.
screwy criteria for getting
This has-
aroused.
This has to be in the mind of the person that has something to do with sexuality.
An
It does
ass,
not.
a bare ass, and bare breasts is a very sensual
I'll tell you what.
parts of the body.
I'll tell you what. You go look at some of the Nazi videos up there when they're dragging away these naked, thin bodies of women. In your case, and is that sexual?
No, it's
No, it has
it's
nothing to
very
do with
sad and heartbreaking. But
It has nothing to do with sex.
I'm just saying that eroticism usually involves a bare ass and bare
Eroticism.
breasts.
Has to do with the person and what he determines to be sexual. But it is not of and by itself sexual.
Is that
Why do you think fetishes exist?
Is that why-
Is a sock sexual?
Is that why nudist colonies, the people in nudist colonies, look at each other like just another face in the crowd?
Correct.
They don't
Because
get. They don't get aroused.
the naked body has nothing to do with sexuality.
I have to disagree on that
You
statement.
can disagree all you want, but that is you.
A good-looking naked body, not a
That is what you
right.
have accumulated as your way of looking at that.
My friend
And
on
what you
Facebook
consider
runs the agency for fitness models. A physically fit young women that are tight and toned and have very well developed legs and glutes. You mean to tell me that the girl having a bikini
I have
Is-
never clicked on any one
with
of
the
those.
ass cheeks? You're trying to.
Not one.
What about people?
Not one.
All right.
Not
whatever.
one.
All right. Anyway, thank you for joining us for Progressive Discussion. What did my grandfather used to say? He used to say, "A stiff prick has no conscience." Yeah, he used to say
Well,
that.
maybe. Yeah. Well, that's that's sort of like in the tune what you were talking about. We're making everything sexual.
Azazich.
Hey, have a tornado in Queens, New York.
A tornado in Queens,
Gonna
New
come
York.
over here,
No, it ain't coming over
No, I
here.
ain't coming over here because
It would have to go southeast.
the message that we put forth to the universe is important. Not all this diddly, this baby stuff people get involved in. Educate. We must educate and warn and inform human beings.
Well, how do